You may not like the person, you may not like her presence here, but you have to respect the office of the Vice President. That is all. Because that is guided by the tradition. Kahapon po, kagaya po na sinabi nila, wala nang pinagtanong sa office of the President. And that is correct. That is in line with that tradition.
Sa pagpapatuloy ng 2025 OVP budget hearing, nagkainitan at kinuwestiyon ni Congressman Rodante Marcoleta, ang chairperson ng komite, kung otorisado ba ito na isantabi na lamang ang tradisyon ng Kamara na mabilisang pag-aproba ng budget ng OVP. Iginiit ni Marcoleta na binibigyan ng parliamentary courtesy ang dalawang pinakamataas na posisyon sa gobyerno, ang Office of the President at Office of the Vice President, bilang bahagi ng aniyay long-standing tradition ng Kongreso. Pinagsabihan din nito ang mga kapwa mambabatas na respetuhin ang Office of the Vice President. Hindi naman sumipot at nagpadala na lamang ng sulat si Vice President Sara Duterte sa komite at ipinauubayan na lang nito sa House of Representatives ang pagpapasya patungkol sa naturang budget. Matatanda ang naging mainit ang nakaraang OVP budget hearing matapos hindi sagutin ni VP Sara Duterte ang mga mambabatas sa paulit-ulit na pag-ungkat ng 2022 confidential funds ng ahensya.
The OVP budget for 2025 by question and answer, and I leave it to the House of Representatives to decide on such proposal as presented. That was the template of an answer given by the Office of the Vice President. Madam Chair, napilitan po akong mag-raise ng parliamentary inquiry. I think I have earned this. If I survive my term up to next year, I would have survived also, or I would have completed 18 years in this institution. And in this length of time, I have observed a tradition. The tradition is the two highest positions of government, namely the Office of the Vice President and the Office of the President, are not traditionally subjected to questions. I have observed this for so long a time. May I refresh the memory of the members of this committee, Madam Chair. In 2022, the Minority Leader, Honorable Libanan, citing courtesy to the Office of the Vice President, took only about 13 minutes to move for the termination of the budget of the Vice President. And after that, the Majority Leader seconded the motion. That was 2022, Madam Chair. Then 2023, no less than the presidential son, our own senior Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable Sandro Marcos, stood up and invoked the long-honored tradition of according courtesy to the OVP, the Office of the Vice President. And in the same manner, he moved for the termination of the Office of the Budget, the consideration of the budget of the Office of the President, Vice President. I also recall, Madam Chair, that it was terminated. And with the full consternation of Honorable Franz Castro, who then objected, but her objections were never heard until she moved to make up record by way of manifestation her objection. But the committee collectively said, you can no longer do that because there was already a termination of the hearing. This is the time-honored tradition, Madam Chair. For so long a time, we have kept and observed this. We have upheld this tradition. My question is this committee authorized to set aside or discard the tradition? That is the question.
Your Honor, such motion was not introduced in the last hearing.
I'm now introducing the motion, Madam Chair.
I second,
terminate.
Madam Chair.
To terminate the consideration of the budget of the Vice President, Madam Chair, on the basis of the long and time-honored tradition, Madam Chair. In order for us to respect a tradition in the same manner that we have respected the tradition here that the first to interpolate every time is the member of the minority. That is the tradition. We have not yet discarded that. We're observing that because we are honorable members of this Congress. So the question is, why have we discarded that tradition? Is this committee authorized to set aside the tradition? If we are not able to do that, Madam Chair, then I honorably, respectfully now move to terminate consideration of the budget of the office of the Vice President, and I so move.
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, Madam Chair, Madam Chair.
Move and seconded.
Session suspended.
Nangyari, a barrage of questions. That's why I'm asking, bakit natin ginawa yun earlier? Are we not already respecting a tradition well kept by this House?
Respect tradition.
Hindi nga, pinagtatanong niyo siya eh. Meron pang pratidelo whatever. That is disrespect to the office of the President, Vice President. So ano rin pinagtatanong niyo sa kanya eh. These questions never happened before. That is the one I'm explaining to you. It did not happen before. Now, ang tanong ko po, ba't nangyari po nung nakaraan, nangyayari na naman ngayon?
We are talking of the office, not the person.
Motion was introduced.
You may not like the person, you may not like her presence here, but you have to respect the office of the Vice President. That is all, because that is guided by the tradition. Kahapon po, kagaya po na sinabi nila, wala nang pinagtanong sa office of the President, and that is correct. That is in line with that tradition. Ngayon po, kung ang tinatanong ko ngayon, are we discarding the tradition? And is this committee authorized to discard a well-kept tradition? So kaya nga, then why are we intending to ask questions na naman at pinatawag nyo na naman kung sino-sino dito? That is why, kung hindi po kayo makakasagot, Madam, ang tinanong ko na sa inyo, I am now moving. Oh, may bratinela pa? Saan po kayo nakakita ng gano'n? This did not happen anytime. Pang-labing 7 taong ko na po ito.
Alam nyo, Madam Stella, I was already here when the Vice President was Noliti Castro, when the Vice President was Binay, when Vice President...
But you were also here in the last hearing. No motion was introduced.
Yun na nga, kasi question na kaagad eh. Wala man lang...
We can read the records. No, he did not introduce it.
Nag-motion siya ngayon.
But it's
Parliamentary parliamentary that suggests the first thing is that is the manifestation.